Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I want to talk about game 1 from the Lakers versus the Warriors, and I want to explain a few things that caught my eye during the game in order to try and understand what it's going to take for the Lakers to potentially beat the Warriors in game 2 and steal this series from the number 6 seed. Now, in order to have a better explaining of what I saw during this game, I'm going to be including some replays and highlights, but I also want to come over to the ESPN page from the game in order to highlight what the biggest differences were between each team and what exactly needs to happen in game 2. Now, as you can tell, I'm a huge Warriors doubter and a big fan of the Lakers, so in this series, my favorite is going to be with the Lakers, but regardless, I do want to talk about the realistic possibilities for both sides and exactly what my predictions are for game 2 of the series. Now, before we get into any specifics about what the players need to do and what each team needs to do in order to win, I want to focus on the rebounding and scoring numbers from each side during game 1. As you can see from the ESPN page, the majority of scoring on the Lakers side was done by AD with 30 points, monster game, and the majority scoring on the Warriors side was done by Curry, who had 27. Now, it's not uncommon for Curry to have over 30 points a game and well over 6 free throws a night, so the fact that the refs are not really blowing their whistle for the Warriors is going to be incredibly important for the Lakers, and especially their presence inside and on the three-pointers on defense is going to be what can keep them in the game and series, especially late down the stretch. Now, looking over at the rebounding numbers from game 1, this is something that really surprised me from Tuesday night's game. Now, since the Warriors are a smaller team and love running small ball lineups, Anthony Davis was always expected to put up a monster rebounding game, which he did with 19 defensive rebounds and 4 offensive, but the most surprising part for me was the amount of rebounds by Kevon Looney. So although he's nowhere near as good as Davis on the offensive end, I fully expected him to have a terrible game, and instead he had 23 rebounds, with 7 of those coming on the offensive end. Now, obviously, this is a huge plus to the Warriors' offense, as Curry loves to relocate after a missed shot, and that can often lead to a wide open 3 from either him, Thompson, or Poole very easily. Now, as far as the assist numbers, there's really no surprise here. D'Angelo Russell had a pretty good game, especially at the beginning, and this is something that the Lakers are going to have to continue doing if they want to have a shot at winning. They need all their pieces to come alive, especially now that LeBron is taking more of a backseat to Davis, and especially if they want to have a shot at leaving this series quickly enough in order to meet the Nuggets, which are on a path to win in 4 games. Now, Draymond Green hit his average amount of assists with 7 total, but this was generally expected, and I don't really add much with the assists to the game, apart from showing whether or not a team is playing cohesively, so I won't focus on this stat for too long. Now, getting into the most important factor for game 2, I want to look at the shot chart between the Warriors and Lakers from Tuesday's game. As you can see, the two teams are playing an absolutely different style of basketball, with the Warriors going with a more 2023 style of play, where they bomb from 3 and bomb from 3 until finally a winner is decided based on whether they continue making them or continue missing them in the night. Now, in this case, the Warriors were able to outscore the Lakers on threes by 15 three-pointers, which would usually guarantee a win on the game for their offense, but today resulted in a loss for the Warriors. So on the Lakers' ends of things, they really were playing a much more beat-em-up inside style of basketball, where AD was able to shine through his amazing ability to score and LeBron's ability to drive to the basket. Now, in the matchup for game 2, I fully expect the Warriors to crowd the paint and try and double AD whenever possible in order to get the ball out of his hands and more towards the three-point lines, where the Lakers hasn't been as good this year and are ultimately struggling in the playoffs. If the Lakers allow the Warriors to score the same amount of threes next game, there's a very large potential for them to lose overall and even potentially to be outscored by 15 or 20 points, which is obviously not what you want to see from a defensive standpoint. Now, Coach Darvin Ham will probably nail this point in the locker room and really make sure that defenders such as Schroeder, D'Angelo Russell, and Vanderbilt go over screens in Game 2 in order to prevent these threes from happening and make sure that AD does not drop as much into the paint, which is something that we largely saw during Game 1. Now Davis would drop very far into the paint, and this would allow the Warriors shooters to get wide open from favorable positions and potentially even distract defenders who are looking to double team and cover Davis's low post position, which is leaving other three-point shooters open throughout the night. So to recap all the information presented, the most important part of the game plan for the Lakers will be their three-point defense and whether or not they can control the screen and pick and roll action, which the Warriors have been using all year in order to get their best shooters open. If the Lakers get outscored from the three-point line massively like we saw on Tuesday, we will most likely see a Warriors win and potentially even a blowout, which is not positive for the Lakers' chances at a title run. Now, although their defense was very good, they will suffer greatly if they can't control these points from the three-point line. And on the Lakers side of things, we want to see actions which will keep AD open in the paint and which potentially will have LeBron running to the rim wide open in his usual style of beat 'em up inside basketball. Now, shooters such as Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, and ultimately Rui Hachimura need to get more open and more consistent in order for the Lakers to continue putting up the amount of threes they have been allowing in these last few games. As we saw in the play-in tournament, Rui Hachimura coming alive from the three-point line was ultimately what won them the game against the Timberwolves and what will ultimately secure them the victory against the Warriors in the long run. If they can match the amount of three-pointers attempted and potentially even made by the Warriors or even get close, they will definitely win the game and ultimately win the series. Now, as always, guys, if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe down below, and I look forward to seeing what will happen tomorrow in one of the most anticipated Game 2 matchups of the year. Thanks for watching.